Hi, and welcome to Module 4. By now you have completed your animated GIF as well as your Muse site plan, and I wanted to talk about those assignments just a little bit before we enter into Dreamweaver and Module 4. So I really liked seeing all the animated GIFs that have come in, and really the advantage of the animated GIF, I see it kind of as the helicopter of animations, in that you don't need the runway to take off. It's just quick takeoff time without the buffering, without the large file size of video, but you get the advantages of video with that quick load time. You get to have a series of frames within a single image. You can tell a story in your series. You can illustrate a tutorial. You can have additional perspectives. I think we had some examples of different perspectives in the snow border and then the rotation of the flower bouquet where you could see 360 degrees in different perspectives around that. So you definitely get a lot of advantages, and I know most of you are familiar with animated GIFs that you see on social media, and I want you to kind of think outside of the box from kind of what you would normally see in an animated GIF and think about how you can use it more effectively on your website, keeping in mind the advantages of that quick load time and those small file sizes. So be thinking about how you can use that to your advantage on your final site, and I'll talk more about some of the examples that I saw submitted in the discussion forum. So I'm on the course page in discussion 3, and I want to take a look at a few animated GIFs. Let us start with Laura's and just see here how her animation could be used for interactivity on a website next to a shopping cart. And she explains here how she plans to use it on a site for an image of a card swipe. So this would really increase the level of the interactivity for the user interface. And I've added an article, as I mentioned, in our Google Plus community where you can look at other kinds of animation for user interface, and how that would really be advantageous for the user on a website. We can also look at Ben's logo here and how he animated it and then just added that last touch with the circle to bring focus to his name. And so that's a way that you could utilize an animation for a logo just to give it another dimension or another level, kind of make it pop and just bring attention to it. And then we can also look at Cameron, and his animated GIF has a scrolling effect. And again, this would be useful for the user interface if you've got multiple images, a series of images that can scroll through here, and the user doesn't have to click on any buttons, and it just is a continuous scroll. And so that's an advantage with the animated GIF for the interactivity to show a series of images. And then lastly, I just want to go to Emily Rollins here, and you can see that she has multiple layers here and just has that added animation that could be used on a splash page to bring emphasis to an action that you're supposed to click on it to play or to give some further direction, but really adds another level and layer to this graphic here. I want to go back to our course page, and just as a reminder, here is our Google Plus community. So if you click on that, it takes you directly out to that community and you can join the community there. I've also added a Zoom meeting recording here if you want to view a previous Zoom meeting if you weren't able to attend it. The last one, I don't think anyone attended that one, so I'm reevaluating if that's something that's useful for you all. And then you can also see I've added my office hours and the location here at Harper Hall. And feel free, if that time doesn't work for you, to contact me about another time. I can meet you on video and then also schedule an appointment. So here's my weekly schedule for appointments. If you click on there, I will update this every week so you can see my schedule and you can fill in your name on areas where you would like to meet and just indicate if you want to meet in person or via video. The blue spaces are when I'm actually in the office, and these are times when I'm in the classroom. The blackout areas are times that I'm not available. But I do want to be available to you, so make sure you check that schedule if you need to meet up with me about any of the assignments or anything pertaining to this class. Also, don't forget in the logo assignment, if you haven't turned that in already, if you want to check that, make sure that you save it in the correct color format for web as well. So you can check back on the color reading to make sure that you understand what color format or mode is appropriate in for web, and you can change that easily in Photoshop. And let me know if you need help with that or have any questions about that. I also want to talk about the logo, and really to go back to homework 1 on those image formats. When you upload your logo, remember that you want it to be web ready in a web format. So even if you design it, let's say in Illustrator, and it's a vector graphic, you can save it as an SVG, a scalable vector graphic, but you probably want to retain the original Illustrator file or whatever program you used to create it in, then also save it as a web format. So have several different versions. You may have a JPEG version as well as the Illustrator version or Photoshop version with layers, and then save it at a lower resolution for web at PNG or JPEG format. Just keeping in mind what size you might want to use it on one of your final sites. And you may want to have a couple of different sizes for your website. In one page it may be used larger, and another it may be used at a smaller size. So just go back and make sure that they're saved in the appropriate web format. Think about the file size, the load time as well. Think about color and how you want to use that in your logo. I do want you to have a full color logo, and then you can modify the color later on when we think about responsive sites. And then also you can look at an article that I linked to on our Google Plus community about developing a website for your ePortfolio if you choose to do that. You are only required to have a logo for your professional site in Module 9 in our final project. So just keep in mind that you will be turning in 3 final sites: your ePortfolio, a professional site that you'll create with a partner or partners, and then a responsive site, which will be a mobile-friendly site that's a redesign of one of your other final sites. I'll talk more about that as we get closer, but just want you to always kind of be thinking about that. And then for your Muse site plan, really I was just looking for the plan. So the wireframing, how many pages you're going to have, how they're going to be related and connected to each other, how the navigation's going to work and the pages move and flow back and forth. And then we'll be developing the final site in the next few modules as we work more with Dreamweaver. And as you set up your site with your web host, you'll be learning some different techniques to kind of flesh out the final site. So that's what I was looking for. And just keep in mind also that you are not required to use Muse to design your final site, but you do have the option to use Muse. The requirement is that one of your final sites must be designed and activated in Dreamweaver. And we'll be hanging out in Dreamweaver over the next few weeks, in the next few modules. So just keep that in mind, that you're required to use Dreamweaver at least one site, and you have the option to use Muse if you choose on a couple of your final websites. Then as we enter into Module 4, we're going to spend a couple of weeks here really learning about Dreamweaver and starting in our textbook. So make sure that you download your graphic files after you register for Against the Clock on the website. And then you will go through the Project 1 tutorial, the Bistro site. And that's the Kinetic Bistro site. I've got a video tutorial that you can view on our course page in Module 5 to take you through that. So you do that on your own, and you can follow along with the video if you want. And then I've also, in that same video, I will take you through the directions for the homework assignment, which is found on page 61 in your textbook. And that is for the rentals property site. So it's a site that's already designed in Against the Clock. You just download the graphic files from the website, and then you're going to link the navigation on that site. And the homework, the tutorial assignment, gives you the skills and techniques that you need to complete the homework assignment. So that's kind of the format we're going to go by for the next few modules. So you do the tutorial on your own from the textbook, and then you're going to do a textbook homework assignment that you turn in. And I'll always have a video for the tutorial assignments. So then you will turn in the rentals homework assignment, that's homework 5, and that's then followed by homework 6, in which you actually set up your URL through the web host, and most of you will be using the ASU web host. There in that same video, I will take you through how to set that up. There's also a document on our As You Learn course page that you can look at and have that out and follow along on the steps to set up your URL website through the ASU host. And then you're going to just format 2 simple web pages that are linked to each other. You're going to format some text, write an introduction about yourself, and that video also will take you through the steps on how to do that. Then we will have another quiz 2, and a midterm survey, and you will be graded on the midterm survey, so make sure you do that. And I'm going to ask some more questions about Zoom to see if that would be something helpful for you. I know some of your schedules may have changed, so please answer the questions on the midterm survey just to help me evaluate how you're doing in this class. And join that Google Plus community, and then you're going to sign up for a professional partner or partners for your professional website by March 20th. So make sure you do those 2 things. Sign up on that sheet linked on our course page, and then join the Google community, Google Plus community. And I've got some additional resources on there on animated GIFs and some other articles, and you can feel free to add your own resources to that community as well. And we'll be using that Google Plus community more as we start on our final sites and you're working with your groups or partners. So if you've got any questions, please talk to me or post in that Google Plus community. If you need a break or get frustrated, watch the Happy Clouds video with Bob Ross and just kind of take a step back if you need to. So it's going to get, the pace is really going to pick up from now on after this module with the homework assignments and going through the textbook in Dreamweaver. So hang in there with me and let me know if you need help or have any questions.